Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama strategy session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. Have you ever thought to yourself that your kids are making you angry? That they are controlling your mood and your reactions? Maybe you even said to your kids, "You make me so angry. You made me yell at you. If you would only listen to me, I wouldn't get so mad. You're making me so upset right now. This is all your fault. It's all because you didn't listen." This is episode 237, and I will be talking to you about giving your power away to your kids or others and allowing them to make you mad. I know this is a tough one. I felt in the past that my kids would make me angry. My kids would get me so upset and so frustrated that it was their fault, that only if they would listen and do what I would ask them to do, I wouldn't have this issue with feeling impatient or frustrated or angry. And if this is you, this is a wonderful episode because we will be talking about how can you remain in control and have self-control when others are not doing what you want them to do. How to not play the role of a victim, feeling like everyone's against you and everyone is not doing what you want them to do and blaming and complaining of everyone. So this podcast episode is for you if this is something that you resonate and relate with. First of all, I just want to say welcome back to the podcast. I've missed last week because it was Thanksgiving week. I was planning on recording this episode last week. It did not happen. I had all 4 kids with me at home the whole week, and I decided that it's going to be no screen week with my kids, which made things trickier, as you probably realize, and especially when it comes to like a work block. And I know that when my boys are home, my work block is very different than when they are at school. Like right now, my daughter is in quiet time. She's napping. She's probably napping because she's super quiet. And the boys are at school. So I have like a solid hour and a half of focused, dedicated work time for the most part. And it didn't happen when the boys were home. I tried recording the episode a couple times, and they would come in, they would meet me, they would get in an argument with each other, or something would come up, and I needed to pause and delete and re-record. And I just figured, you know what? I will choose to adapt. And if you guys care for me, you're going to come back the following week. You will be okay with me missing a week. I do care about you, and I do want to show up here for you, and it is important to me, and I do value the work that I do, and my family matters more. I did not want to feel all frustrated, reactive, and angry with my kids while recording an episode on this. So I chose to adapt and let it go for 1 week, and now I am back to recording the weekly episodes. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. It was tricky. Last week, we celebrated Thanksgiving with my family. So my husband and my side of the family, everybody lives in Minnesota, except my sister who lives in New York. Everyone else is in Minnesota. And we have moved to Florida 2.5 years ago. So this is our 3rd Thanksgiving in Florida. And I'm doing all the cooking. My husband helped a little bit. My oldest son, he loves baking, so he did the baking. And he loves making like pumpkin pie or cookies or anything like that. It was still like, it's different. It's different because we used to live in Minnesota and go to grandma's house and then the other grandma's house. And I never had to host in Minnesota. And here in Florida, we're creating our own family traditions, and it was just our family. So it was super slow, and it was like almost 80 degrees here in Florida. We went on a walk in the morning, and then we went on a walk before dinner. It was wonderful and really enjoyed it. All right, that's my little life update. Don't know if you cared about it or not, but let's get into this episode. I have a question for you. If your kids, let's say your kids, can make you mad, how long do they keep you mad? How long do they have that power to keep you mad? When you allow someone to get you mad and get you angry, you give your power away to that person. You're allowing someone else to control your emotions. That's kind of crazy, right? You're giving your power away to the other person when you allow them to get you upset. Well, the question is, how do we not allow people or children to get us upset? And we will be talking about this in this podcast episode. So I have a mentor from Minnesota. She was in my life about 6 years ago. And when I was going through kind of like a tough season in my life, and she would say this phrase that I just could not get on board with. She would say, no one can make you mad. Your husband cannot make you mad. Your kids cannot make you mad. You choose to get mad. And I literally thought she was crazy. Like I strongly disagreed, because my husband was making me mad. My kids were making me mad. Circumstances that weren't going my way were making me mad. And when we allow others to make us mad, we feel powerless in that circumstance. I want to share with you a little bit about victim mentality. So victim mentality is something that I learned a little bit when I initially started to learn about coaching and life coaching about 6 years ago, but I really got to learn a lot more about this about 1.5 years ago when I first took my course with my current coach, Tessa. She teaches a lot about victim mentality because she teaches a lot on mindset. And I would say even victim mentality is something that is part of our sinful nature. This is when we blame others for our actions, we complain about our circumstances, and we justify our negative choices that we've made. And all of that is sinful. So blame shifting would look like, if you remember the story from Adam and Eve in the beginning of the Bible, there's a phrase, a couple of verses I'm going to read to you. And this is a perfect example of blame shifting instead of taking ownership. Genesis 3:10-13. So when God came to Adam and Eve and asked them, "Where are you?" Because they were hiding. And Adam said, he answered, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. So I hid." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" The man said, "The woman that you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree and I ate it." He's blame shifting instead of taking ownership. Then the Lord said to the woman, "What is this that you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me and I ate." That is a wonderful example of blame shifting from a story from the Bible. How often do we have conversations with our kids and we ask, like, who did this? Or what's going on? And they're blame shifting on each other. "Well, I didn't do it. He did it." My kids do this all the time. So blame shifting, you're playing the victim instead of taking responsibility for what you did. "Well, he made me do it. He's the one that brought the snack." Well, you're not supposed to eat granola bars at home. That's our rule. Granola bars are when we leave the house, not go home. You're not supposed to eat granola bars at home. "Well, he brought it to me. He's eating his. So I thought it was okay for me to eat mine." Blame shifting instead of taking ownership and responsibility. Okay. The other part of victim mentality is complaining. And this would be examples of us complaining as moms about our kids. Here are some examples. "They're driving me crazy. I can't get them to do anything. They're constantly whining. It's like pulling teeth to get them to do homework. They just want to play video games all day. They're so demanding. I feel like I'm constantly nagging them. They never listen. They're always testing on the limits. It's exhausting to keep up with them. They are so messy." That's complaining. So taking ownership would be like, okay, the house is messy. What are we going to do about it, right? Complaining is the kids are always so messy. They always make a mess that I have to clean it. They never listen. Well, okay, your kids are not listening. What are you going to do about it? That would be taking ownership and responsibility and having an empowered perspective. Victim mentality is just complaining. It's not looking for a solution. It's just complaining. Okay. Then there is a justifying. Okay. This one is, I guess I talked a little bit about it in blame shifting, but this is where you're justifying your negative choices as if somebody made you do it. For example, you yelled at your kid. You screamed at your kid, and you're justifying your yelling because they did not listen. If they just did what I said, I wouldn't have to yell, scream, or get mad. I spanked him because he didn't do XYZ or because he did XYZ. I yelled at them because, and you are justifying your poor choices. Spanking in anger is sinful and it's wrong because you're feeling out of control and you're taking that wrath out on your kids. If you're choosing to spank, that is the way to do it. All right. That's not what the Bible is talking about when it's talking about, spanking. And this is not a topic that I go deep in. This is a decision you get to make for your family and how you want to parent your kids. What I'm trying to say is justifying our negative choices, like yelling, screaming, shoving our kids, yanking them, being rough with them. because they did not listen, because they did not do what we wanted them to do, because we were running late, whatever. You're justifying your negative reaction, that you're playing the victim role. You're taking the role of a victim instead of having an empowered perspective. If you feel like things are happening to you, your kids are doing things to you to upset you, hard circumstances are happening to you, you are in that victim mentality. And we do talk on this and touch on this topic in my course, in my 12-week Calm Christian Mom coaching program. So the victim role sees how everyone else is at fault and they didn't do anything wrong. Have you ever had this example with your kids? I didn't do anything wrong. I just touched him. I just made a face. I didn't do anything wrong. Victim role doesn't want to take any ownership and responsibility for what they did. They just want to blame, complain, and justify. Have you ever met a person in your life? It could definitely be an adult that does not take responsibility for their actions and blames everyone for their choices and has an excuse every single time for what they did that was wrong and destructive and hurtful. Here's a wonderful example of not giving your power away and remaining cool and in control. Have you ever seen a movie when someone is yelling at someone else, but that first person is staying calm, cool, and stable? Who looks like a fool in that moment? The person that is yelling. What if someone yells and the first person yells back and then both get really escalated? Then they both look like fools. For example, I have a life example that happened the other week. So my oldest son, he was having a rough day, and he will be 13 next month. And so we are definitely experiencing a lot of dysregulation, a lot of attitude, and just unhelpful comments, snarky remarks, just common, typical teen stage. If you have a teenager, you probably understand. If you don't have a teenager like that and you have a teen who is just pleasant, kind, and in a good mood all the time, you're amazing. And I hope that continues for you. That's not the case. Anyways, he was just not having a good morning. He was having a really hard time. And I need to remind myself, he's having a hard time. He's not doing this to me. He's having a hard time. And I can still remain in control and grounded. And he was just saying things that were unhelpful. And my husband told him that he needed to go outside and do some raking of the leaves. And he intentionally was making lots of noise, walking through the house with the rake and then the leaf blower and blowing it in the house and dropping the rake. And anyways, all the things that he should not have been doing because he was in a yucky internal state. And I was able to remain cool and grounded and collected and just told him like, hey, I need you to go outside. Please stop. I need you to go outside. Or just look at him. He's trying to get a reaction out of me. That's what he was trying to do because he was feeling really yucky. He was trying to do something to get a reaction out of me. And I was just remaining calm and I just looked at him. He wasn't destroying anything in the house. He was just trying to get a reaction. And I didn't give him a reaction. I just looked at him without saying anything. That's it. And eventually it got boring because I wasn't giving him a reaction. Getting escalated, he ended up going outside and doing the thing he needed to do. And my middle son, who was right next to me, because I was trying to read a book, I was reading the Bible to him. And he was saying, he's like, why did you not get mad at him? Why are you not getting mad when he does that? I said, if I allow your brother to get me upset, I give him my power. If I allow him to get me mad, I don't have my power anymore. I want to remain in control. And what was helpful in that moment was my perspective and my mentality, what I was thinking. In just a minute, I will tell you about what the Bible talks on this topic and what it teaches and how we can implement that in our lives. Before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about my coaching program. If this is something that resonates with you, if you find yourself constantly reacting with your kids, you're reacting in negative ways, you hate the way that you show up for your family, you feel like a failure on a daily basis, you cry yourself to sleep because you screamed at your kids to the point where your throat hurts, you want to punch the walls, you're a different person at home than you are in public, and you want to change that, you want to gift your children this coming year, this Christmas season, a mama who is stable, calm, present, joyful, grounded, I want to invite you to take the next step and book a free consultation call with me. The link is in the show notes. On that call, you and I talk about what is going on in your life that is contributing to you feeling really reactive. And I will help you understand what the root problem is. And then if you want my help achieving the goals of being calm, patient, stable, loving, kind, and a positive example for your kids, I will invite you into my 12-week coaching program. The program is 100% money back guarantee. If you do the work and you show up and you don't get the results, I will give you 100% money back guarantee at the end. My program is even have 6, even 12-month payment plans that are interest-free based on your credit history. My friend, don't let that hold you back. Gift your kids a mama who is enjoying her life and shows up as her best self for her family. Your kids deserve that. You deserve that. Their childhood is passing by. You cannot go back and relive these days again. You cannot go back when they're tiny again. You get one shot at this. And I want you to show up as the best way that you can for your kids. If you constantly feel like a failure on a daily basis, I promise you there's another way to live. I want to help you. And if you want my help breaking free from reactive anger, yelling, screaming at your kids, feeling constantly negative, and being a negative example for your kids, and you want to change that around, I can help you. Book a consultation call with me. That's the next step. And you and I can talk about how we can work together. The prices will be going up in the new year. So if you want to work with me, this is your chance. This is your time. Instead of buying a ton of gifts for your kids this Christmas, instead invest in yourself and gift them a mama who loves her life and shows up in godly ways for them. All right. So what does the Bible say on this topic? About blaming, complaining, justifying, having others make us do something. Here's a verse from Romans 14, 10 through 12. And it says, each one must answer for himself and give a person account of his own life before God. And that means we need to take ownership of our own action. When we stand in front of the Lord at the end of our lives, we will give an account for what we thought, what we said, and what we did. Because your thoughts affect your feelings, and your feelings affect your actions, and your actions affect your results. So you answer for what you said and did, not what your kids said and did. Yes, you are still responsible for your parenting, how you handle it, but you are not in control of them. You do not have the responsibility of giving that account for their actions or your husband's actions. You cannot control what other people think, say, and do. You can only control yourself. You can control to engage in the conversation or not engage, or choose to disregard, or choose to say nothing. You cannot control what thoughts come into your mind, but you can control if you are dwelling on them or you're redirecting them. You are in charge of who you choose to be and how you choose to show up in that moment that feels hard. that is on you. And that's the kind of work we are doing in my coaching program. I teach you how to show up as the woman that you want to for your family, as the mom that you want to be for your kids, even when the circumstances are not in your favor. Maybe it's the circumstances you wouldn't choose. How can you still show up as that mom that you can reflect later at the end of your life and be proud of the way that you handled it? So thinking back to that example with my son, when he was feeling agitated, he was in a yucky state and he was kind of in a reactive mode. What could I have really said in that moment when he was trying to get a reaction out of me that could have truly helped him? There's really not much I could have done. He just needed to pass that yucky mental state. Honestly, what happened was I allowed him to look silly by trying to get me upset, but I remained in control and cool. And how I did that was having a perspective in my mind that this isn't to upset me. He's having a hard time. I can choose to stay calm. I am in control of my own actions. I choose not to react. I choose to stay quiet. I tell my brain that in that moment. That's how you redirect yourself. And we do a lot of that kind of stuff in my coaching program on coaching calls. We go through scenarios and we talk about, okay, this is the scenario that you tend to react. How can you respond differently next time? Because there will be something similar that will come up. So what are you going to do differently next time? In Proverbs 17:27 through 28, in New Living Translation, the verse says, "A truly wise person uses few words. A person with understanding is even-tempered. Even fools are thought wise when they keep silent with their mouths shut. They seem intelligent." And so that is an example for us. Sometimes it's better to stay quiet and not say anything when the other person is getting escalated. If you're not saying anything just to make them, if they're asking you a question and you are not responding to get them upset, to feel powerful and in control, you're obviously seeing it's upsetting the other person. I can totally understand that. That is wrong. That is actually damaging to a relationship. And if the other person is escalated and they are trying to suck you into their emotional charge situation and you're not giving into that, that is when you show up as a wise person. If you just stay calm and you don't say anything. The Bible tells us to have self-control, not other control. The fruit of the Spirit is self-control, not other control. If you think things like, well, she makes me so mad. I feel mad when she does that. When you think things like, well, she makes me so mad. The truth is, you feel mad when she does X, Y, Z. And what are you going to do about it? You can say to your kids, I feel really upset when you do X, Y, Z, and I will blank. What are you going to do when you feel mad? Feeling is something that you can do about. Not I am mad, I feel mad. This is not who you are, you're not mad. I feel mad when you do X, Y, Z. And that's okay. You can say that. I feel upset when you do this. And I'm choosing to do this. You can feel upset. You can feel triggered and still not react to someone else's actions. It's okay for you to feel upset and mad when someone does something that hurts you or something that you really don't like. And you can still choose to respond in a way that feels good and is aligned with who you want to be for your family and who God is calling you to be, really. And we work on that in my coaching program. One of the best ways that we do that is through journaling. We teach our brain what to do, what to say, and we rewire our brain how to respond in a positive way the next time a certain scenario comes in. So here is your action step. I want you to journal. Who do you want to be in moments when your child is feeling upset and dysregulated? Like, let's take this scenario. You're a mom. You definitely experience when you have a child who's having a moment of meltdown or they're really feeling upset. And maybe this is a moment where you feel really triggered and you get pulled into feeling reactive. So I want you to take out a journal and write out, who do you want to be in those moments when your child feels upset and dysregulated? Do you want to be calm and stable? Do you want to be understanding and compassionate? Who do you want to be? And what would that look like? Like, how exactly do you want to show up and what exactly do you want to think in those moments? I choose to stay calm. I am in control when my child is having a meltdown. I get down on their level and I remind myself he is having a hard time. I am stable. I am grounded. I am the calm in the storm for my family. Like, who do you want to be and how exactly do you want to show up when a hard circumstance happens that feels triggering? That's an action step. This is the kind of work that you and I do together in my coaching program. I just want to remind you again, if this is something that resonates with you and you are in a place where you're ready to make changes, you're sick and tired of the way you've been showing up for your family, you know that the next 5 years do not look good if you continue on this path, and you're ready to make changes, I want to invite you to book a consultation call with me. Let's talk about how you can make changes in your life and how I can support you. You have nothing to lose, my friend. The investment is 100% money back, guarantee, if you do the work and you don't get results. And I know that if you do the work, you will get results. What is it worth to you and for your family? You're their biggest influence. You have the most impact on your children. They mimic and they repeat everything you say and do. What example are you setting for them? And if you want those changes, I'm here to support you. I cannot wait to talk to you next time. Book a consultation call with me. Let's talk, my friend. Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.